Broncos and the Texans. We figured this would probably be a little bit of a slugfest here, and it was to the very end. The Broncos kick a field goal as time expires. 18-15 final score here. The Broncos win this game. The Broncos' top 5 graded players that we had in this one: safety Talanoa Hufanga with an elite 91.3 overall grade. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw right behind him, a 90.1. Look at that. 2 free agents coming in, playing a big role. Love to see that. Defensive tackle Zach Allen at number 3 with an 81.3. Offensive guard Quinn Miners, 78.6. Offensive tackle Garrett Bowles, a 78.5. And then quarterback Bo Nix with a 67.5. On Houston's side of things, their safety Kalen Bullock with an 82.7. Edge rusher Will Anderson, number 2 with an 82.0. Edge rusher Danielle Hunter at 78.6. Cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. 78.4. Tight end Dalton Schultz with a 75.7. And then Davis Mills, who was the quarterback who came in for CJ Stroud, who got hurt with a concussion, taking a really hard hit in the second quarter of that game, 43.2. I didn't see anything concrete on what was the long-term status of CJ Stroud after this game. Obviously, D'Amico Ryans was talking afterwards, and he wanted an unnecessary roughness penalty. He felt like his quarterback was giving himself up, and he took an unnecessary shot, especially one of that magnitude. But obviously left the game with a concussion, did not return. It's something that I'm sure that they will have to monitor for at least the entirety of this week before their upcoming game. But I didn't see anything about him missing multiple weeks for sure or anything like that.
He's in the protocol. He's just going to go through the steps, and however long that takes, it takes.
Staff told the story for you, Dalton.
Look, we are just going to get the Auburn Tigers version of Bo Nix this year. That's just what's going to happen. I guess Sean Payton.
He's a little better than that.
Well, better, but also the high variance.
I see what you're saying.
The high variance version of that.
It is the much higher variance version.
Once again, for 3 quarters, it was ugly. Now, against this Texans defense, there is a little more leniency because they are arguably the best pass defense in the entire league. They're arguably the best defense in the entire league with all the studs that they have. But Bo Nix through the first 3 quarters, a 53.7 passing grade, 9 of 21 for 97 yards. Bit up and down, but when it matters most in the fourth quarter, when he needs to get just enough done to win a ball game, he got it done. 78.1 passing grade in the fourth quarter, 9 of 16, 76 yards and a touchdown. Also 3 carries for 36 yards. The big scramble at the end that really got them into field goal range. And I think at this point, this is just what we've come to expect from the Broncos is, there's a roller coaster. It might look a little ugly. It's going to take a while for them to find the rhythm. And yet in the fourth quarter, Bo Nix keeps getting it done. The defense gets enough stops to make it happen. And they were certainly at an advantage here with Davis Mills playing most of this game and struggling, and the Texans being unable really to run the football. But once again, Bo does enough. And you know what? That's gotten this team to 7-2, and they're 2 games clear of first place, and they're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, it's funny because you're right. Nix can just do so many different things for you, right? And that's both the good and the bad. The previous 2 weeks, they score 44 points, 33 points. And then if you go back 3 weeks, it's that New York Jets game where they score 13 and win. In this game, they score 18 and win. And so I think it is actually a compliment that the Broncos are able to win in so many different ways against so many different teams. Now, it doesn't always look as in control and as pretty as you would want, but the fact of the matter is they are sitting here at 7-2. They feel pretty good about where they're at. And if you want to say, well, they probably shouldn't have won. What was it, the Jets game where it felt like they were trying to lose that game. So you could say, well, if they were playing anybody else other than the Jets, they would have lost that day. Well, that's true. They also kind of should have beat the Colts when they were in Indianapolis. So if you even want to flip-flop those 2 things, I think the record is the same here.
And they had no business really winning the Giant game, but it is what it is. All 33 of those points in the fourth quarter, right?
That one was I don't know about no business winning that game, but what a roller coaster that was. I do agree with you, though, is that Nix is just really hot and cold. And that's also my stat that told the story here, is that when Bo Nix is hitting the throws that he is supposed to hit, not even the high completions above expectation throws that we've seen him make, if he is playing on script and he's hitting the throws that he should hit, this team has the capabilities of scoring 20, 30 points and winning almost every single week. But when he is throwing on the run and the fundamentals break down and he's missing wide open throws and the chemistry is off with his wide receivers, it can look really ugly. But if you're a Broncos fan, you have to feel good about where you're at knowing that if this is now the new baseline for sort of where you're at as a team, you got to feel good about how you're going to continue to improve this offseason, knowing that the Chiefs are getting a little bit older in certain positions, and there are times when the Chiefs obviously look as dominant, and hey, maybe the Chiefs end up winning this division when it's all said and done, but you are obviously lessening the gap between where the Chiefs are at the top of this division and anybody else. I think the Chargers, if they're fully healthy, are a team that's capable of competing at the top. I think the Broncos are as well. So it's not just, it's Kansas City and then whoever else is in that division. I think at the very least, even if they don't win the division in the end, which they've got a decent lead here, so they got to feel pretty good about it, you feel pretty good about making the playoffs and potentially getting to win a playoff game and set the table for what could be next season with an even better roster. But yeah, it was one of those stories where it looked really ugly for the first 2-3 quarters, and then all of a sudden, boom, it looks great for this team, and they come back and they win it in the end. And this is tough. It's tough to go into Houston and play this defense. And so I think that you're right saying, hey, you got to give them a little bit of grace because this is one of the best defenses in the NFL, and I would agree with you completely.
Yeah, I would rather struggle in the first 3 quarters and get it done in the fourth than the other way around. I mean,
sure.
If you look at the stat that sticks out for this team, in the first 3 quarters of games, they're tied for 19th in points scored this year. In the fourth quarter, they're second behind the Green Bay Packers. And I was looking at offensive grade right now, actually. First 3 quarters of games, they're 23rd in the league in offensive grade as a team. So it's not just Bo, it's really this entire team. 23rd in the first 3 quarters. I'm pulling up the fourth quarter right now, just giving it a second here. But I'm sure it wouldn't shock me at all if it's somewhere in the top 5 once this pops up. But certainly the ability to finish games. And look, you mentioned it. We've talked at times about Denver and their offensive flaws and needing to get in better rhythm. And I'm sure Sean Payton says it. He would love to probably play better in the first and second quarter every single week. But 7-2, you're tied for the best record yet. 5th in the league in offensive grade. They go from 23rd in the first 3 quarters to 5th in the league, a top 5 offense in the fourth quarter of these games. Again, look, and we've seen teams in the past all the time that have success in the first quarter and then drop off. I'm sure Sean Payton wouldn't trade those numbers for the record that he has right now.
Zach Tantillo in the chat saying, so he's clutch?
I mean, yeah. So through 9 games, he is.
We got it, Zach. We got it out of him. We got it out of him, ZT.
Yeah, well, you know the Auburn homer in him is going to get on us every week. You already know.
My most impressive in this game was Kalen Bullock. I thought he looked great. Had the interception in this game. Kalen Bullock is somebody who is such a fascinating prospect, right? He's somebody who was as boom or bust as it gets when he was at USC. He would play that free safety, single high safety role where he's got great range, great ball skills, led the country in interceptions for a good portion of when he was a starter there at USC. The tackling was horrendous when he was in college, and it's gotten a little bit better with him in the NFL. It really has, but he still gives you that single high ability to go up and get the ball. There was an interception, I believe it was a target to Cortland Sutton, where Nix was trying to force it deep down the field to him because, to be honest, I believe at that point in the game, Cortland Sutton was seeing a lot of Derek Stingley Jr., and Stingley actually was in coverage on the 30-yard touchdown to Cortland Sutton. And so he gave up the touchdown, and he still had a pretty good PFF grade because of how well he played the rest of the game when there were throws his direction, when there weren't throws his direction. He was playing Cortland Sutton pretty tight in one of those spots where I think Nix was saying, I got to get Sutton going deep down the field. We got to connect here. He saw him with a little bit of an opening. He threw it up to the sideline, and Bullock was able to get from his center field roll all the way to the sideline to intercept it. So he continues to be one of the better true free safeties in the NFL when you go to single high situations. And so I thought that really showed up today. That was pretty impressive.
Through a year and a half, he's got 7 interceptions and 6 pass breakups now. And you mentioned it. You could argue in last year's draft he was the best single high safety. In that role that he can play, he can be really good at times and make plays on the ball, game-changing plays on the ball. I'll go with a safety on the other side who is basically the exact opposite in style from Kalen Bullock. Talanoa Hufanga was just all over the place. 83 run defense grade with 2 run stops, 2 coverage stops. Only allowed 3 catches for 5 yards as the primary defender in coverage. This is by far the best game that he's played, the most comfortable he has looked in a Denver Bronco uniform. And really that defense, especially the run defense, was a big reason that Denver continued to stay in this game and then win it, even though they had to come from behind again. And my most disappointing, the Texans' run game. Look, you got to be able to run the football better when your backup quarterback is out there. 25 design carries for just 58 yards, no explosive runs, and just 1 yard before contact. Davis Mills was not going to be able to put the game on his shoulders against this defense with Hufanga playing like that. The linebackers, Dre Greenlaw's starting to really look good again as he's getting healthier. The defensive line obviously is really good with Nick Benito and Zach Allen and those guys, but the Texans needed to run the football better. Talanoa Hufanga was a big reason that their offense, especially in the second half, couldn't function very well.
Yeah, the run game is tough for the Texans because
it is what it is.
Mixon's been out the whole year, and they would have never expected Mixon to be out like this, and he's now missed 8 games, and I don't think there's any sign of him returning. I haven't read anything. Maybe Texans fans can let us know in the comments if there's been anything from Mixon, but I haven't seen anything. It's almost like they're operating as if he's just not going to play this year. And going into this season, I don't think they were intending on Nick Chubb or Woody Marks or whoever it has been leaning on them as much. And so yeah, that's unfortunate. To me, the most disappointing is just simply the Stroud injury, because Stroud over the last, I would say, 2 weeks has really started to play a little bit better. I think this offensive line has started to play a little bit better, and it just was a bummer that he went out in this game, because I think it would have been fireworks to the end and probably even a little bit higher scoring, because I think this offense would have had a little bit higher of a ceiling if he's in the whole rest of the game. So obviously we hope that Stroud is okay long term. We hope that he's back out there pretty quickly, because he is still one of the most exciting and fun quarterbacks to watch in this league.
On Joe Mixon, Nick Caserio recently said that he's it's going to take another 3 to 4 weeks, and this was a while back that he said that. Actually, I think it was pretty recent that he said this. Another 3 to 4 weeks before they even have any clearer of a timetable. So I think there is a real chance that he's just not going to play this year with whatever this foot injury is that he suffered in the offseason. And it's at that point, I mean, you have Woody Marks in there. Nick Chubb's obviously been playing as well. And it's just the offensive line was always going to make the run game a weakness for Houston anyway. But the lack, Marks has given him flashes, and I think he can be a solid committee back moving forward into the future. But they got to find themselves a workhorse moving forward.